Now we are ready to head for the Horn.
Way, hey, roll and go.
Our boots and our clothes, boys, are all in the pawn.
To be rollicking randy dandy o. Heave a paddle, heave away. Way, hey, roll and go. The anchor's on board and the cable's all stowed. To be rollicking randy dandy o.
Soon we'll be warping her out through the locks.
Way, hey, roll and go.
Where the pretty young girls will come down in their flocks.
To be rollicking randy dandy o. Heave a paddle, heave away. Way, hey, roll and go. The anchor's on board and the cable's all stowed. To be rollicking randy dandy o.
Come breast the bows bullies and heave her away.
Way, hey, roll and go.
Soon we'll be rolling away down the bay.
To be rollicking randy dandy o. Heave a paddle, heave away. Way, hey, roll and go. The anchor's on board and the cable's all stowed. To be rollicking randy dandy o.
Oh, man the stout capstan and heave with a will.
Way, hey, roll and go.
Soon we'll be driving away down the hill.
To be rollicking randy dandy o. Heave a paddle, heave away. Way, hey, roll and go. The anchor's on board and the cable's all stowed. To be rollicking randy dandy o.
Deputy Lieutenant, Deputy Mayor, Civic Society members and guests. I'm Marion Coop, Chairman of Lytham St Anne's Civic Society, and absolutely delighted to be here this morning with this site looking so good. It's been a lot of hard work and it's the biggest project the Civic Society's ever undertaken, and I hope you notice in particular the flowers have just come out right for the day, and you won't see a flower bed like that anywhere. So welcome to everyone, and in particular David Cam, Deputy Lieutenant of Lancashire, and Mrs Jan Barker, Deputy Mayor, and her consort Mr Steve Barker. David Cam was born across the estuary in Southport and grew up in his parents' hometown of Blackpool, where he attended St Joseph's College. He moved to Ansdell 35 years ago with his new wife Ginny, and has never wanted to live anywhere else. He qualified as a barrister and used his training to enjoy a full career as Group Company Secretary and Director at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. He was commissioned Deputy Lieutenant of Lancashire in 2012, and since 2015 also enjoys the unique honorary role of Under Sheriff of the County Palatine of Lancaster, which makes him the permanent Deputy High Sheriff in the 3 counties of Lancashire, Greater Manchester and Merseyside. So we are delighted to have him here, and he's always been a great supporter of both Blackpool Civic Trust and ourselves. Over to you, David.
Deputy Mayor, honoured guests, ladies and gentlemen, grandson Maximus, good morning to you all. Now, I'm not going to keep you long because I've left my mother-in-law at home with a severe dose of laryngitis, and I don't want to miss a minute of that. So, I should warn you that the last time I gave a speech actually was at Preston South Ribble Rotary Club, and after I'd finished, the most senior member of the club came over to see me at the bar and said, "Mr. Cam," he said, "that was by far the worst speech I've ever heard in my entire life." He said it was boring, repetitive, puerile, and your attempts at humour were positively pathetic, and walked off. Well, the president came over to see me and said, "David," he said, "I'm very sorry about old Alfred. You know, he is our most senior member. He's 97 now, and he doesn't really have any opinions anymore. He just repeats what everybody else says." So, for the first time in my life, I wished that I subscribed to Twitter, because the role of Lord Lieutenant and of Deputy Lieutenant were created by His Majesty King Henry VIII, and I've no doubt that I am, and will remain, the only Deputy Lieutenant in history to ever reopen a Mussel tank. I was, of course, absolutely delighted to receive the invitation, and in a few moments it'll be a unique honour for me to declare this extraordinary new attraction well and truly open. But before I do, having lived in Ansdell for more than half my life, I feel sure that I may speak on behalf of all the residents of Lytham St Anne's when I congratulate the Lytham St Anne's Civic Society and its enthusiastic volunteers, and pay tribute to the various professionals who have contributed so much to the design and creation of this 21st century Mussel tank which you see before you. I first joined the Civic Trust movement, thank you. I first joined the Civic Trust movement in 1979, 40 years ago, and I've always been thoroughly impressed with the way that they work and everything they do quietly behind the scenes, properly protecting all those things within our townscapes which we hold so dear and which are so often not protected by the planning laws. And it's for this reason that this and other civic societies have perhaps a reputation for being reactionary. But this extraordinary project, following their most successful creation of the Witchwood Walk, the local list of heritage attraction assets, and other invaluable initiatives, has shown that our own civic society offers far more to the community than most. The Mussel tanks were built in 1934, the same year as that beautiful Singer Le Mans sports car behind you, which Eric Watkins has brought along to celebrate with us today. They served our fishermen for this end, at this end of the coast, but also as far as Morecambe Bay. But sadly, they fell into disuse in the 1940s, and this has been a sore thumb ever since, a blot on the landscape of our magnificent green, which serves to delight residents and tourists from all over the world. So it was clear that no one quite knew what to do with it. Enter Marion Coop's extraordinary team of elite enthusiasts who in 2010 set about removing the carbuncle in favour of a delightful new heritage site for the benefit of all promenaders, a place to slow down, to rest, to enjoy the sunset, to relax and to be educated as the design tells the story of the shellfish industry through interpretation, artwork and sculpture. The list of people to thank and congratulate is quite long, so I do hope you'll bear with me if I just highlight a few of those who have come together and overcome all the obstacles, financial and practical, to give us something of which we can all be extremely proud. The Lytham Schools Foundation, the funders, together with the Tom Blasson Charitable Trust, many donations and legacies, and CS fundraising for their help as well. The landscape architect, Tom Hollick of BCA Landscape, who has brought the scheme in on budget. His inspired design reflects the past use of the area while making it already a popular place to relax and to play. The contractors, Landscape Engineering and Padium, Fileborough Council for supporting the initiative at the Tourism and Leisure Committee and acting as the accounting body with very useful practical help from their officers right the way through the project and up to today. Lytham in Bloom for doing the interesting indigenous planting. Friends of the Estuary for looking after the site and indeed looking after the beach as a whole. John Edwards for bringing his wonderful 1958 double-decker bus parked over there to add to the occasion, and Eric Watkins we've already thanked for his Singer Le Mans. The Sea Shanty Band, who supported the RNLI and have been playing here today for us. The Ribble Cruising Club, and particularly Mike Briers for all their help in the initiative. The PA system by Mark, photography by Keith Rothwell, video by John Bentham, and the Deputy Mayor, Mrs. Jan Barker, and Consort, Mr. Steve Barker, who have been great supporters of our heritage. Here also are Paul Sumner, one of the last remaining fishermen, and Andrew Lanigan of the best fish shop in the country. All together illustrating our ongoing links with the sea. Now, crucial in all this has been the hard-working committee of volunteers with the Civic Society. And we can be truly proud of everything that's been achieved here. And we'd like to single out two people in particular for their extraordinary dedication and efforts. They are Emma Duffy who was a tremendous enthusiast and supporter of the early stages, and Sue Corner, who visited the site every day, encountering all sorts of hitches and supervised the actual construction alongside Tom Holly. Will both Emma and Sue please come forward? But in the meantime, may I introduce the Deputy Mayor of Fylde, Mrs. Jan Barker.
Thank you very much, Lord Lieutenant of Lancashire. Councillors, Chairman and members of the Civic Society, ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to be invited to this morning's celebration for the opening of this beautiful Mussel tank and gardens. On behalf of the people of the borough, I would like to congratulate the Lytham St Anne's Civic Society for once again taking the initiative with a great project which clearly benefits the whole community. I know there were many talented and passionate individuals and groups involved in this wonderful project, but it was the Civic Society who led the campaign against commercial development of this site and brought us instead a valuable public space for all to enjoy for many years to come. What would we do without them? Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Deputy Mayor is going to accompany me and the Chairman across over to the ribbon over there now for the ceremonial reopening of these glorious Mussel tanks. All invited guests are then very welcome to join us for a glass in the Ribble Cruising Club next door.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, I now declare this 21st century brand new Mussel tank well and truly open. My sword is blunt, which is why I didn't use it.
Heave a ball, heave away, way, hey, roll and go. The anchor's on board and the cable's no slow to be rollicking randy dandy o.
Heave away, burries, ye parish rig bums.
Way, hey, roll and go.
Take your hands from your pockets and don't suck your thumbs.
To be rollicking randy dandy o. Heave a polo, heave away, way, hey, roll and go. The anchor's on board and the cable's all slow to be rollicking randy dandy o.
We're out, we're bound for Valleypo Bay.
Way, hey, roll and go.
Get cracking, me lads, it's a hell of a way
To be rollicking randy dandy o. Heave a polo, heave away, way, hey, roll and go. The anchor's on board and the cable's all slow to be rollicking randy dandy o. Heave a polo, heave away, way, hey, roll and go. The anchor's on board and the cable's all slow to be rollicking randy dandy o.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Right.